All right. Okay, that's good. And speaker view, and let me see. Look at that. Okay. So, if you recall, the first chapter started with Mangalacharan, which was 14 verses that we covered, and then we explained each one of those verses, and the details were provided in the rest of the chapter. So actually, the whole chapter is more of a explanation of verse 1 itself, verse 1 and 2. But we covered different aspects of Mangalacharan. First off, which is obeisances. So obeisances to the different gurus and the Lord himself. And then we move on to the specific obeisances. And then we talk about Vastu Nirdesh, which is the objective of the book, which is Lord Chaitanya, obviously. And then we, final part of the Mangalacharan is the blessings. So we talked about that as well. And there are a few verses that in particular are important that I'm going to share the screen and put it on. The first one I'm going to share is verse number 32 in Adi Lila. So you can put it on your screen or your book if you are reading from that. And it talks about the 6 different transcendental expansions of the Lord. So let me just share this screen. I don't see it. Hold on. Oh, let me see why I'm not able to share it. Hold on. Oh, because I didn't put it on. Okay, now let me try it again. Share.
Next, which text?
Mataji Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 32. I'm going to put it on the screen. Okay, there you go. Now I can do it. Do you see it?
Yes.
So it says here, Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakash, Krishna A Chaya Rupe Karena Vilas. So it's talking about the 6 different manifestations of the Lord. And first one is Krishna himself. Second is Krishna as Guru. Then Krishna as Bhakta, devotee. Krishna as Shakti, which is the energy. Krishna's incarnation, avatar. And Krishna's Prakash, the manifestation. So he's enjoying it in 6 different ways. So this is applicable to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Krishna is appearing as Lord Chaitanya, of course. He's also appearing as Guru. He's appearing as devotee, which is Shiva's Pandit. Shakti, which is the energy of Krishna, which is Gadadhar Pandit. Avatar, which is Lord Advaitacharya, who is the combined incarnation of Sadashiv and Lord Shiva. Sorry, Lord Mahavishnu, Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. And Prakash, manifestation, is Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. So there are 6 different manifestations of the Lord, in which Lord Krishna has appeared in the Chaitanya Lila, Lord Chaitanya Lila, and the whole book Chaitanya Charitamrita is about these 6 manifestations of the Lord. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing I wanted to mention is that it talks about the Guru. It talks about 2 types of gurus: the initiating or Diksha Guru, and the instructing or Shiksha Guru. And we had a lot of discussions about that. But basically the point is they are identical because they're both manifestation of Lord Krishna. Then talks about devotees, which is Bhakta. They also in 2 types. One is the Parshad, which is the personal associates, Nitsiddhas. And we have Sadhakas, the neophytes. They're both loved by the Lord. And actually there's a verse that I want to share with you, and I think it's 62. Let me just check to make sure. 52. Yeah, 62. Okay, so let me just share the screen. So in this verse, actually, this is also from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's been referred to here. And it's Lord Krishna talking. He says, Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhu nam hridayam tu aham, mad anyate na janati, naham tebhyo managapi. Saints are my heart, and only I am their hearts. They do not know anyone but me, and they do not recognize anyone besides them as mine. So again, it's basically Lord Krishna talking about how much he loves his devotees. Then talks about Ishwar of Krishna himself, Ishwara Parama Krishna, Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, which is again from Brahma Samhita, talks about that. And he's also the source of all incarnations, as he mentions in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 8, Aham Sarvasya Prabham Bhatta Sarvam Prabhatate. The next is avatar. So again, all incarnations are non-different. And we discussed different incarnations, Lila avatar, Purusha avatar, Ansha avatar, Shakti avatar, etc. But here, we're mainly interested in the incarnation as Lord Advaita Acharya. Okay, so we talked about that. Prakash is the other one, which is the manifestation of the Lord in the form of Nityananda, which is Lord Balaram himself. And then Shakti, which is the energy, is the incarnation of Radharani, which is Gadadhar Pandit. And of course, we discuss also how Lakshmi is the wives of the Lord Krishna in Dwarka, and all the gopis. They're all expansions of Krishna's Shakti, which is Radharani. We also discussed Achintya Bhedabhed philosophy in this context. Okay. Then it refers to the three lords of Vrindavan, which are what? Radha Govindji, Radha Madan Mohanji, and Radha Gopinathji. And finally, we discussed how Srimad Bhagavatam rejects any cheating religion, which is defined as any activity, auspicious or inauspicious, that is detrimental to the execution of devotional service. So unless it is performed for the pleasure of Krishna, it's a cheating religion. And it comes about as a result of our ignorance. And we discussed specifically the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. And we said that they're all cheating religions, and Moksha is the worst. And we asked you to memorize one of the verses, which was Taramadhe Mokshavancha, Kaitava Pradhan, Jaha Hote Krishna Bhakti, Hoy Antadhan. So if you have desire for moksha, which is the merging in the Brahman effulgence, then basically that results in disappearance of the devotional service to the Lord. So that's the worst kind of cheating religion we can have. And Srimad Bhagavatam, and of course Chaitanya completely rejects any cheating religion. And and we have to be very, very careful about getting involved with any activity that ends up being for our self-gratification as opposed to the self-gratification of the Lord. And unless we're doing that, we cannot expect to develop love of Krishna in our heart, because unless we're only considering pleasure of Krishna, self-gratification of Krishna as our ultimate goal, we cannot develop that love in the heart. And if we don't have love in the heart, then there's no way the Lord will come under our control, as we know from many, many past times where the Lord acts like he's under control of his devotees. That's basically summary of chapter 1. So I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions or comments on that before we move to chapter 2.
Prabhuji, just one small misunderstanding. Maybe I have. It says pure devotees are of two types. One is parishats and the other one is sadhakas, which are neophyte devotees.
Correct.
But neophyte devotees are not pure devotees, I believe.
That is correct also. So
Uh,
basically, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but in the beginning it says there are pure devotees are of two types. So I was
Yeah.
wondering neophytes are not pure. Yeah.
So that the two types of neophytes also. The neophytes referring to here is a neophyte who has ultimately become pure devotee, as opposed to Nityasiddha Parshad, which is always was pure devotee, never became sadhak, never became contaminated, never came down to the material world, like forced to come down to the material world. And that's the distinction. So one has gone through the process of Vaidhi Bhakti all the way to Prema Bhakti. One never left Prema Bhakti. That's the two words have been referred to here. Does that clarify for you?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's a little misleading, I agree. But it's talking about pure devotees. So basically talking about the two paths. One is who never left Krishna, never stopped loving Krishna. One who turned away from Krishna but finally has come back.
And we fall in. So do we fall in that category or not?
Well, not yet. We actually
Not yet.
in the initial stage of Vaidhi Bhakti.
Right.
Our goal is to get there. And hopefully one day we will. And actually, Lord Srila Prabhupada has guaranteed that we stay in Krishna consciousness, follow all the rules and regulations, follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, we will get there guaranteed. But when, I don't know.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Okay. So now, unless there are any more questions, we'll move to chapter 2. So everybody okay moving to chapter 2?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So let us do that. Let me put it on the screen. So bear with me. Somebody suggested that I should assign this task to somebody else and focus on discussing. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm thinking that might be a good idea. Anyway, so let me share the screen here. Okay, do you see it?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande Balohapi Anugrahat Taren Nana Matgaha Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram. I offer my obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even an ignorant child can swim across the ocean of conclusive truth, which is full of the crocodiles of various theories. So very interesting start of the chapter. This chapter is entitled Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's declared in the title that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's non-different from Krishna. So this whole chapter will talk about that. That's one point. Second point is that right off the bat, Krishnadas Kaviraj Prabhu is offering obeisances to Lord Chaitanya and basically declaring that he's so merciful that by his mercy, even an ignorant child can cross over the ocean of nescience, which is full of crocodiles. Now, what is the danger of crocodiles? Anybody wants to say, why should we be afraid of crocodiles?
Because they can eat you.
They're exactly right. They'll eat you up, basically lose your existence. So same way, there's so many theories that will get us so confused that we'll get lost in the in the material world, forget about Krishna, forget about devotional service. We're just running around like mad, totally confused, not knowing what we're doing. And one day we'll have this theory, another day we'll have following this theory, one day we'll be following this guru, another day we'll be following that guru, on and on and on. So Krishna's Kaviraj is saying that Lord Chaitanya, by mercy, will be able to cross this ocean without worrying about these crocodiles. Okay, so somebody please read the purport.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, please.
But by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even an inexperienced boy with no educational culture can be saved from the ocean of nuisance, which is full of various types of philosophical doctrines that are like dangerous aquatic animals. The philosophy of the Buddha, the argumentative representation of the Jnani, the yoga system of Patanjali and Gautama, and the system of philosophers like Kanada and Kapila and Dhara are dangerous creatures in the ocean of nuisance. By the grace of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can have real understanding of the essence of knowledge by avoiding these sectarian view and accepting the lotus feet of Krishna as the ultimate goal of life. Let us all worship Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his glorious mercy to be the condition to the conditioned soul.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. So basically it is saying that unless we have the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we're going to get confused by all these different philosophers that have been named here. And as I was saying before, we'll be totally confused and basically end up staying in the material world eternally. So that's why we have prayed Lord Chaitanya to please show his grace so that we don't get confused by these people and we stay focused on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and therefore not lose our way. Any questions or comments on that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Why the philosophy of Lord Kapildev and Dattatreya is condemned here, Prabhuji?
So this is not Lord Kapila. This is another Kapila.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
fake Kapila. He's like Prabhupada called him Rascal Kapila. And so
Can you explain about that one, Prabhuji? Who was that? Because I didn't know about that.
So basically, his philosophy was that you should do. Let me see if I can say it properly. His philosophy was basically that you should do something like Sankhya Yoga, but not with focus on Lord Krishna. And he basically turned into more of the Ashtanga Yoga than anything else. So again, confusing people. And so Prabhupada says, just stay away from him. Okay, I don't know much more, but I just know a little bit.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Purnachandra Mataji?
Okay, Prabhu, I have one question here, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is this the same Dattatreya who is Atra Rishi's son? And
Correct.
I'm not getting,
Yes.
because Atra Rishi was a Rishi, then how come he says that Dattatreya has dangerous creatures?
So
of
again,
the-
Mataji, yeah. So the word dangerous refers to anything that takes you away from Krishna.
Okay, thanks.
So if you, I forget the verse number, but there's a purport in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which says even the pious activities are sinful activities. And then he gives the reason, because pious activities also take you away from Krishna and make you interested in enjoying your life. So you want to become a demigod, you want to become a rich, famous, powerful person, so on and so forth. That takes you away from Krishna. Text 44 in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita says, Bhogashva prasaktanam taya prachetsa. So that philosophy comes in where you get so busy enjoying your opulence that you forget about Krishna. Vyavasayatma buddhi samadhana vidhiyate. It becomes very difficult to become focused on on Krishna's lotus feet. Mother Kunti said the same thing in her prayers. Janmashar, I can't remember now. Janmashar should be basically saying that if you become proud of your lineage, your education, your beauty, your money, then you cannot give your heart to Krishna. And Krishna doesn't have time for you either. So it's dangerous in that sense.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. So text number 2. Anybody knows how to chant the Shat Goswami
Yes,
Ashtak?
Prabhu.
So I think it's the same meter. So if you want to do it.
Krishna Kirtan Gana Nartana Kala Pathanjano Brajita Sadbhaktavali Hamsa Chakra Madhupa Srini Viharas Padma Karananandi Kala Dvanirvahatu me Jiva Prangane Shri Chaitanya Dayanide Tavalasa Lila Sudha Swarduni.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much. I could never have done that. Okay. Translation. Oh, my merciful Lord Chaitanya, may the nectarian Ganges water of your transcendental activities flow on the surface of my desert-like tongue. Beautifying these waters are those lotus flowers of singing, dancing, and loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees are compared to swans, ducks, and bees. The rivers flowing produces a melodious sound that gladdens their ears. So once again, Krishna's Kaviraj continues his prayer to Lord Chaitanya, and now he's comparing his activities with the flow of the nectarian Ganges water, and saying that just like Ganges water, when it flows on a desert area, it makes the desert, become not non-desert, or whatever the right word is. Similarly, my tongue is like a desert because Krishna's name is not coming. Taste for Krishna's name is not here. Krishna's taste for chanting for any devotional activity is not there. So by your coming here, the desert will disappear and develop the taste for those things. I'm saying these waters are beautified by things like, generally speaking, when there are lotus flowers in a body of water, it's considered very beautiful. So Krishna is saying that these waters are beautified by the lotus flowers of singing, dancing, and loud chanting of Krishna's names. And pure devotees always take pleasure from singing, dancing, and chanting Krishna's name. And that is why they're compared with swans, ducks, and bees. So what do swans do? Anybody? So swans are totally focused on whatever they're doing. And they're very peaceful. Ducks are also very peaceful. If you see a duck floating, it's like nothing happening. Although the feet, if you look at the feet, which are under the water, they're going crazy, paddling like crazy. But above the water, it's totally peaceful. Shamo damastapa shaucham, the qualities of a Brahmin. And the bees, what do? They buzz around the lotus flower because they're interested in the nectar. This is nectar of the holy name of the Lord. So pure devotees have the taste for those things, and that's what they're compared with in different places: swans, ducks, and bees. And again, it's also saying the flowing of the river produces sound that makes the devotees very happy. Okay, let's do the purport then. Who wants to read the first paragraph?
I can read, bro.
Go ahead, please.
Can you scroll, bro?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Our tongues always engage in vibrating unless sounds that do not have useless sounds that do not help us realize transcendental peace. The tongue is compared to a desert because a desert needs a constant supply of refreshing water to make it fertile and fruitful. Water is the substance most needed in the desert. The transient pleasure derived from mundane topics of art, culture, politics, sociology, dry philosophy, poetry, and so on is compared to a mere drop of water because although such topics have a qualitative feature of transcendental pleasure, they are saturated with the modes of material nature. Therefore, neither collectively nor individually can they satisfy the vast requirements of the desert-like tongue. Despite crying in various conferences, therefore, the desert-like tongue continues to be parched. For this reason, people from all parts of the world must call for the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are compared to swans swimming around the beautiful lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or bees humming around his lotus feet in transcendental pleasure, searching for honey. The dryness of material happiness cannot be moistened by so-called philosophers who cry for Brahman liberation, and similar dry speculative objects. The urge of the soul proper is different. The soul can be solaced only by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his many bona fide devotees who never leave the lotus feet of the Lord to become imitation Mahaprabhus, but all cling to his lotus feet like bees that never leave a honey-soaked lotus flower.
Yeah. Okay, so I already explained most of it. One point I want to make is that the urge of the soul is different from the urge of the body. And therefore, anything that is not directly related to Lord Krishna or his pure devotees cannot give pleasure to the soul. Soul is not interested in anything material. It itself not being material, it's being spiritual. And therefore, any topics that have nothing to do with Krishna don't make it happy, make the soul happy. And even us, the body, the happiness we get is temporary, just like a small amount of water in a desert. Okay. That's it. Let's go to the next paragraph, please. Somebody else wants to?
May I read, Prabhu?
Of course, of course.
Lord Chaitanya's movement of Krishna consciousness is full of dancing and singing about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. It is compared here in the pure waters of the Ganges, which are full of lotus flowers. The enjoyers of these lotus flowers are the pure devotees who are like bees and swans. They chant like the flowing of the Ganges, the river of the celestial kingdom. The author desires such sweetly flowing waves to cover his tongue. He humbly compares himself to materialistic persons who are always engaged in the dry talk from which they derive no satisfaction. If they were to use their dry tongue to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, as exemplified by Lord Chaitanya, they would taste sweet nectar and enjoy life.
Right. Thank you. So again, we covered this point that materialistic person, they engage in dry talk, which is called prajalpa, something that has nothing to do with Krishna, and therefore there's no satisfaction because again, the real satisfaction comes from the soul. And the real satisfaction of the soul comes not from topics about material things, but from topics about Krishna. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 9, it says, Machitta madgat prana bodhyantas paraspara katyantas sumam nitya tushyanti cha ramati cha. The enjoyment and the nourishment of the pure devotees comes simply from discussing pastimes, qualities, form of Lord Krishna. And that's basically the point being made here. Okay, any questions or comments on this? Okay, then we move to the next one then. Okay. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Shri Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra and all glories to the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Okay, this is a very famous verse that I think we chant all the time, almost all the time. Okay, let's go to the next one. Unless there's any question on that. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm just having difficulty getting to the right place. Okay. तृतीय श्लोकेर अर्थकारी विवरण वस्तु निर्देश रूप मंगलाचरण. So, if you recall, I was mentioning in the beginning of class tonight that Mangalacharan has three components. One is the blessings. So, you already, one is the obeisances, which is what we have already done. In all, the entire chapter 1 was about that. And even the beginning of chapter 2 is about offering obeisances. So here, started with Lord Chaitanya, then moved to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and then went to Panchatattwas. Now it's getting to the second part of Mangalacharan, which is called Vastu Nirdesh, which means, what is it about? What is this book about? So now saying, Tritiya Shlokera Artha Kari Vivaran Vastu Nirdesh Rup Mangalacharan. So let me describe the meaning of the third verse of the first 14 of chapter 1. It is an auspicious vibration that describes the absolute truth. So Vastu Nirdesh is the absolute truth, and we'll talk about what does it mean by absolute truth here. Okay. Text 5. Again, I'm not sure I know the meter, but I'll try it. Unless somebody else wants to try it. Is anybody bold enough? Okay. I'm sorry?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
What are the three components you said, like obeisances, vastu nirdesh,
And blessings. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yad advaitam brahmopanishadi tad api asit tanubha ya atmantar yami purusha itiso asyansha vibhravaha shad ashvaryai purno ya iha bhagwan sa swayam ayam nat chaitanyat krishnat jagati par tattvam param iha. Translation. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord known as the Super Soul is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. So this verse should be familiar to you because this verse number 3 from Adi Lila chapter 1. So we did this, I think, third week of these classes. Okay, somebody wants to read the purport?
I shall try to.
I can do
Please
it,
go ahead.
Prabhu.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I can do it. If Prabhu is doing it, it's okay.
Okay, you can do the next second paragraph. That's okay. Prabhu, you go ahead.
The compilers of Upanishads speak very highly of the impersonal Brahman. The Upanishads, which are considered the most elevated portion of the Vedic literatures, are meant for persons who desire to get free from material association and who therefore approach a bona fide spiritual master for enlightenment. The prefix upa indicates that one must receive knowledge about the absolute truth from the spiritual master. One who has faith in his spiritual master actually receives transcendental instruction, and as his attachment for material life slackens, he is able to advance on the spiritual path. Knowledge of the transcendental science of the Upanishads can free one free from the entanglement of existence in the material world. And when thus liberated, one can be elevated to the spiritual kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by advancement in spiritual life.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So, first of all, as we know, Upanishads are part of the Vedas. There are 108 Upanishads, which are part of the 4 Vedas that we know. And the word Upanishad itself is being explained here. Upa means near, and Nishad means to sit. So Upanishad basically means to sit near, which basically means that we sit, near the lotus feet of the spiritual master, and we learn from the spiritual master by surrendering to him and his instructions. And there is actually one of the Upanishads has a very wonderful verse. It says, Yasya deve parabhakti, jatha deve tatha guru, tasat kahitahi artha, prakashante mahatmana. The one who has same degree of faith in the spiritual master as the Lord himself. To that person, and who does not distinguish between the Lord and the Guru, to that person, the Guru automatically reveals the truth, the real truth, that is. So that is Upanishad, and therefore Upanishad must be learned, understood from a elevated devotee, which is our Guru Maharaj. And it's meant to free us from the material association and therefore the material world. And unless we approach a spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master from a proper parampara, disciplic succession, we cannot be liberated or elevated to spiritual kingdom. So that's basically a requirement for us to get to that point. Okay. Any questions on that? Otherwise, we read the second paragraph. Okay. Usha, you want to go to the second paragraph?
Sure, Babu.
Go ahead.
The beginning of the spiritual enlightenment is realization of impersonal Brahma. Such realization is affected by gradual negation of material variegatedness. Impersonal Brahman realization is the partial, distant experience of the absolute truth that one achieves through the rational approach. It is compared to one seeing a hill from a distance and taking it to be a smoky cloud. A hill is not a smoky cloud, but it appears to be one from distance because of our imperfect vision. In imperfect or smoky realization of the absolute truth, spiritual variegatedness is conspicuous by its absence. This experience is therefore called Advaitvada, or realization of oneness of the absolute.
Thank you. So we have discussed this many times before that the absolute truth has 3 features. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti Shabdate. Chapter Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 11, I think. And so it's saying here the beginning of spiritual enlightenment is the realization of the impersonal Brahman. But the problem is that this realization completely negates any material variegatedness. And so there's 2 types of negations. One is, come up with a philosophy and you say, neti, neti. No, it's not this, it's not this. You come to something else, say, no, it's not this, not. So basically, all your life, you're trying to come to conclusions and they reject them because you realize it's not it. So that's one point. Second point is, it assumes oneness, like everything is the same. And therefore, there's no variety. So, and that's a very nice example is given. If you're in an airplane and you look at a distance, a hill at a distance, it looks like a smoky cloud. You can't see the trees, you can't see the animals, you can't see small hills, you cannot see anything. There's no variety you can see. You just see smoky cloud. And it's like same thing with impersonal Brahman realization. Another example is given of the sun. So basically, it's like seeing the sunlight and thinking that's it. And therefore, it's also an incomplete understanding of the absolute truth. Any questions on that? Okay. Next paragraph then.
Should I continue, Prabhu?
Okay, go ahead. Just next paragraph is small one, yeah.
The impersonal glowing effulgence of Brahman consists of only the personal bodily rays of Supreme Godhead, Sri Krishna, Sri Gaur Sundara. Since Sri Gaur Sundara or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is identical with Sri Krishna himself, the Brahman effulgence consists of the rays of his transcendental body.
Right. So again, the point is being made is that Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Lord Krishna. Actually, it's Krishna appearing as Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Radharani. Therefore, since we know that Brahman effulgence is nothing but the bodily rays of Lord Krishna, hence, if A equals B, B equals C, then A must equal C. I don't know how many of you understood that. But anyway, the point is, if Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna, and Brahman effulgence is the body ray of Krishna, then by implication, Brahman effulgence are the rays of the body of Lord Chaitanya. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, somebody else wants to read next paragraph?
I can read it, Prabhu.
Go ahead, please.
Similarly, the supersoul, which is called the Paramatma, is a plenary representation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Antaryami, the supersoul is supersoul in everyone's heart, is the controller of all living entities. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, wherein Lord Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivistaha. I'm situated in everyone's heart. The acting in this the acting in this expansion as a super soul. This is a proprietor of everything. Similarly, the Brahma Samhita states Anantara Stha Paramanu Charitamrita Tam. The Lord is present everywhere within the heart of every living entity and within each and every atom as well. Thus, by this super soul feature, the Lord is all pervading.
Yeah, thank you. So now we talk about the second feature of the absolute truth, which is a Paramatma feature. In English, it's called super soul. And Paramatma is also Antaryami, as quoting, Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivisto. I'm residing in the heart of everyone. And in chapter 13, text 23, Krishna says, Updrashta Anuvantacha, Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaram, saying that I'm sitting there as a witness and a sanctioner. So he knows everything, and the sanctioner is controlling everything. So as Paramatma, he's a controller. And again, Krishna says the same thing in chapter 5, text 29. He says, Sarvalok Maheshwaram. He says, I'm the controller of all planets and everybody in those planets. So, and he's the proprietor of everything. So Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapsam. So I'm the enjoyer, and therefore I'm the proprietor. Isha Vasaridam Sarvam. Ishopanishad says, I'm the proprietor of everything. So the point is, he's the enjoyer, he's the proprietor, he's the controller. And as super soul, he's all pervading. In a localized super soul form, he is the form of Lord Narayan, Chaturbhuji form. It resides in the heart of all living entities. And his Vasudeva expansion, he permeates all atoms. So every atom has been permeated by the Vasudeva feature, or super soul feature of the Lord. So again, the point being that that's the other second feature of absolute truth. So the first one was Brahman effulgence, second is Paramatma feature. Okay, any questions? Okay, who wants to read the next part?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, please.
Furthermore, Lord Krishna is also the master of all wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, because he is Sri Krishna himself. He is described as Purn or complete. In the feature of Lord Chaitanya, the Lord is an ideal renouncer, just as Sri Ram was the ideal king. Lord Chaitanya accepted the order of sannyas and exemplified exceedingly wonderful principles in life, in his own life. No one can compare to him in the order of sannyas. Although in Kali Yuga, acceptance of the sannyas order is generally forbidden, Lord Chaitanya accepted it because he is complete in renunciation. Others cannot imitate him, but can only follow in his footsteps as far as possible. Those who are unfit for this order of life are strictly forbidden by the injunctions of the Shastras to accept it. Lord Chaitanya, however, is complete in renunciation as well as all other opulences. He is therefore the highest principle of the absolute truth.
Jai. So now, once again, comparing Lord Chaitanya, not comparing, establishing that Lord Chaitanya is not different or same as Krishna. He has all the 6 opulences that Krishna has: Aishwarya, Samagrasa, Virya, Shashya. So wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. But the main point in this paragraph is that Lord Chaitanya, one of his opulences is renunciation. So he had no difficulty taking renunciation at the young age of 24, leaving a young wife at home and old mother at home. So no attachment. Same thing with Krishna. Krishna left 3 billion gopis from Ras Lila, just disappeared. No attachment. He left Vrindavan, no attachment, because he's fully renounced. So same thing with Lord Chaitanya. And then the point being made here is that in the age of Kali, when Lord Chaitanya appeared, sannyas actually is prohibited. The 5 things that are prohibited, one of them is sannyas. But Lord Chaitanya, being complete in renunciation, he could do that. And another point being made is that if you want to take sannyas, you have to be following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In other words, you have to be a Vaishnava. You have to be Krishna devotee. You have to be always focused on lotus feet of Krishna. You have to be only discussing Krishna Katha, etc., etc. Others are not allowed. So other people, other sampradayas, when they take sannyas, they're not following the rule of prohibition in the age of Kali. Okay. Any questions or comments?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Prabhuji, as it is mentioned here, that in the Kali Yuga, sannyas is forbidden. What I think, we see so many sannyasis in our society, and without, like the sannyasis in our society, I would say, are the most respectable position in the spiritual life. So, and without them, like the sannyasis are most respected, and in that way, they are considered, like I talk about real sannyasis again. So we consider them like they are real preachers of Krishna consciousness. So then, if it's forbidden in the age of Kali, then we see so many sannyasis in our society. So many people are taking sannyas, and without sannyasis, I think it's becoming a little bit hard to preach Krishna conscious. Though we understand there are so many grihasthas also preaching Krishna consciousness.
So I think, Prabhu, you missed what I said. I said, unless you're Krishna conscious, unless you're preaching Krishna Katha, unless you're in this sampradaya following the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, it's not allowed. So You're saying the same thing. So if you're doing all that, then it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhuji, so Krishna Bhagavan Antim Lila was he in sannyasi mode? Same like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Lord Krishna? No.
He was still.
He did take sannyas. He's renounced. Very big difference. You can be a grihastha and be renounced. Krishna was grihastha but renounced. Or you can be sannyasi, which is the order of renunciation. So two very different things.
So it wasn't similar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So Lord Chaitanya actually took sannyas. He left home. He left his wife, his mother, his home. He took sannyas. Lord Krishna did not go through that.
Prabhuji, the way we heard like Mahabharat mein, the way it was ended, that the way Lila was ended. So basically he left gopis, he left Dwarkadish, he left everything, and then he was in jungle, or that's how he ended his Lila, right? And
So I think I'm not explaining this correctly. There's one thing to be renounced in the sense of being unattached without giving up anything. Other is give up everything and go to the forest. Not necessarily forest, but give up everything that you have, your possessions, your family and everything. You become a mendicant or become a, what's called a traveling monk, if you want to use that word. And they go through a sannyas ceremony. So the two, they're not necessarily the same thing. One who's become a sannyasi can be unattached, or usually is. But one who's unattached doesn't necessarily be sannyasi, you would be grihastha.
understand, bro.
Okay, as a matter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does talk about that a tyagi, which is a renounced person, doesn't have to leave home. But a sannyasi would.
Understand, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
sure, Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have a question.
Devjani?
Prabhuji, like whenever we read any scriptures and then it mentions about about Lord Chaitanya and then Swamis and Acharyas and like all the very senior devotees and everybody. So like isn't it contradictory because they always say like we should follow them and at the same time again it said that like they are the ideal, like Lord Chaitanya, as you said here, he is like the most ideal personality, like degree to the highest order of renunciation. So isn't it contradictory? Like they ask us to follow exactly like they did, but again at the same time we know that we cannot do that because they are at the level of like to the ideal level, so we cannot do that.
Yeah, so you're confusing between two terms. So one is called imitation, one is called following the footsteps of. So imitation is not allowed. So don't try to be Lord Chaitanya, don't try to be like Mother Yashoda, don't try to be like Radharani or the gopis of Vrindavan. That's imitation is not allowed. You're not qualified, as you said. But following the footsteps means have the same mood, try to serve in the same way, without doing this. For example, another example is Mother Yashoda chastised Lord Krishna and tied him up with a rope. Don't try to do that. But you can love Krishna in the mood of Yashoda Maya by following the footsteps of Mother Yashoda and serving her. Similarly, Krishna had friends who would climb on his shoulders, who'd, chastise him, who'd actually in one time they threw him out of the game they were playing. Don't try to do that. That's imitation. But we can serve one of the friends of Krishna to develop that mood of friendship. Okay, is that making sense?
Yes, to some extent, Prabhuji, but when we develop that mood, then again it comes out of our act.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Don't do the act. Serve the devotee whose mood you want to follow. So,
Okay.
like I'm saying, don't try to chastise Krishna like the friends do. Don't take credit away from Krishna like the friends do. Don't try to climb his shoulders like his friends do. So that's imitation, not allowed.
Only we should try to develop the mood.
Mood is developed by serving the devotee you want to follow the footsteps of. That's what following the footsteps of means. So follow the instructions, what their mood is, things like that. But don't do in actions what they do. So they have time to give example about the Yashoda, the friends, gopis. Don't do what they do.
So, Prabhuji, then isn't it like then it should have been prohibited for us, like not to directly worship or do that?
Sorry, say again.
So then like I'm confused. Then it shouldn't have been like it should have certain restrictions, like we cannot serve the deities or Krishna directly then.
So, as you know, we're not allowed to serve Krishna directly. That's why we always go through a spiritual master, a bona fide.
That we do. So until and unless like in my case, I'm not still initiated. So I like sometimes it causes a feel of guiltiness within ourselves.
So, feeling of what?
Guiltiness, like
Guilty. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
again, sorry to interrupt. Again, you are aspiring. So you have taken shelter of a guru already.
yes.
And if you are not aspiring, you take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, who's Jagat Guru, and you go through him. So you can go through the guru you're aspiring with, and then Prabhupada, and so on, the simple succession. And if you're not aspiring, then you go straight to Prabhupada. But you still go through a guru. You're not allowed directly. Only person who's allowed to serve Krishna directly is Radharani. When you think about this. So the Sakhis assist Radharani, Manjuris assist the Sakhis, and we assist the, Manjuris and so on and so forth. Right? But we're not allowed to go directly.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. Gayatri, you had your hand up. Gayatri, you still there?
It's okay. Yeah, I'm still here, Prabhu. It's okay. I put my hand down.
Oh, okay. All right. Why, you got disgusted or?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
No, it was actually in one of our other classes. We were talking about what is our mood supposed to be, and how, even though we're conditioned souls, we're still, a part of Krishna, and we do eternally serve Krishna in a certain mood. But that's something that we might not know what it is. But our Guru Maharaj, our Guru can give us clues and even have some idea of what kind of mood we can be serving Krishna in, because there's so many different moods, and sometimes it's confusing to know what kind of feelings and what kind of mood we should have.
Yeah. In our Sampradaya, we're told the only mood you have is das. Be a servant. That's it. Servant of the servant of servant. Lord Chaitanya in his very famous verse said, Das dasanu dasa. And that's our identity. We are servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. That's it. No other mood allowed.
Maybe I'm saying the word mood wrong, or maybe it's like what devotee we should, kind of.
Yeah, so you can take shelter of a devotee in a particular mood. Yeah, that is correct. That's what I was telling Debjani, that, depending upon your preference, you can take shelter of a particular devotee. But you cannot imitate.
No.
Don't start doing what Mother Yashoda was doing or Mother Radharani was doing. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Usha, thank you for your patience.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
so if we are aspiring and we don't have of course the Prabhupada is our guru, and as far as the serving
to Krishna is concerned, we have deity at home and we serve him. Are we not allowed? We
So-
still are.
No, so you serve him through Srila Prabhupada. This is why you will offer prayer Srila Prabhupada to offer bhoga or do arti. And actually you say, Srila Prabhupada, please offer arti, please offer bhoga, and allow me to assist you. So you're assisting Srila Prabhupada, or you can be directly offering Srila Prabhupada saying, okay, you will offer to Krishna.
Okay. I only ask for the bhoga to him.
Bhoga, arti, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
All the offerings have to go through the Guru.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then let's go to the next paragraph. By an analytical study of the truth. Who wants to do it?
I can read it, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
By an analytical study of the truth of Lord Chaitanya, one will find that he is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. No one is greater than or even equal to him. In Bhagavad Gita 7.7, Lord Krishna says to Arjun, Mata Paratharma Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, Arjun, there is no truth superior to me. Thus, it is here confirmed that there is no truth higher than Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Right. So once again, point being Lord Chaitanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna, and therefore, because Krishna is the highest truth, Lord Chaitanya is the highest truth. Okay, you can read the next paragraph also. It was too short.
The impersonal Brahman is the goal of those who cultivate the study of books of transcendental knowledge, and the super soul is the goal of those who perform the yoga practices. One who knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead surpasses realization of both Brahman and Paramatma, because Bhagwan is the ultimate platform of absolute knowledge.
Right. So this is the hierarchy. They're saying it starts with Brahman effulgence to Paramatma feature or super soul, to Bhagwan feature, which is the personal feature. And if you understand the personal feature, then you understand also the impersonal feature as well as the Paramatma feature. But if you don't understand that, then your understanding is incomplete. Either you stop at Brahman effulgence or you stop at super soul. And its degree, none of the three is wrong. It's just a matter of the completeness of the realization. So the first two are incomplete, and the third one, Bhagwan feature, is complete because it includes the realization of the other two. You know, for example, if you understand sun god, then you understand sun planet and the sun rays. That's the example given most of the scriptures. Okay. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, next paragraph.
And
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
The personality of God is the complete form of Satchidanand, full life, knowledge, and bliss. By realization of the Sat portion of the complete whole, unlimited existence, one realizes the impersonal Brahman aspect of the Lord. By realization of the Chit portion of the complete whole, unlimited knowledge, one can realize the localized aspect of the Lord, the Paramatma. But neither of these partial realization of the complete whole can help one realize Ananda or complete bliss. Without such a realization of Anand, knowledge of the absolute truth is incomplete. Thank you.
So, as we know, Ishvara Paramakrishna Satchidanand Vigraha. The Lord Krishna is Satchidanand Vigraha. So the Sat feature, Chit feature, and Ananda feature. So Sat feature is the eternity. The eternal existence of the Lord comes from his Sat feature. But that feature is also in Brahman effulgence. What's that verse, 14th chapter, text 27, I think it is? Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritas avyasascha shastrasya dharmasya sukhasya akantikascha. He's saying basically, you know, I am the owner of the Brahman effulgence, and it is eternal. So that's the eternal feature. The next is Paramatma feature, which is the Chit potency. That's where the knowledge is coming from. Complete knowledge is coming from that. But the Anand is missing. I mean, there's a little bit of Anand there, but is insignificant compared to the Anand received from Bhagwan realization. Because when you have the Bhagwan realization, you have the relationship established. And that's when it's real, pure bhakti. Anya abhlashta shunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam. That bliss coming from that kind of devotional service is considered to be so big, so high, that the type of devotion that we have read recently says the pleasure of merging the Brahman effulgence or obtaining any of the 8 mystic perfections is completely insignificant compared to the bliss obtained through establishing that relationship or realization of the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Okay? Any questions for that? In other words, you will not have real Anand unless you have the Bhagavan feature realized. Okay? Next paragraph, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Shali Mata, go ahead.
This verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami is confirmed by a parallel statement in the Tattva Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami. In the 9th part of the Tattva Sandarbha, it is said that the absolute truth is sometimes approached as impersonal Brahman, which, although spiritual, is only partial representation of the absolute truth. Narayana, the predominating deity in Vaikuntha, is to be known as the expansion of Sri Krishna, but Sri Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the object of transcendental love of all living entities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So again, same point is being, proved in a different scripture, Tattva Sandarbha by Sri Jiva Goswami. That's part of 6 Sandarbhas, Shat Sandarbha. And there it's explaining the same thing. That, some people can consider absolute truth to be the impersonal Brahman effulgence, but that's only partial representation of the absolute truth. And unless we get to the point of understanding Krishna, who is the object of transcendental love of all living entities, that's our goal. Ultimate goal of our life is to get to the stage of loving Krishna. And the point being made here is that even Lord Narayan, who is a predominating deity of all Vaikuntha planets, is an expansion. It's the expansion of the expansion of the expansion of Lord Krishna. So, again, going back to the point that Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. And Lord Chaitanya is not different from Krishna, so therefore he's also the supreme absolute truth. So remember, we start by Vastu Nirdesh. What's this book about? And then who's that this book is about? So it's about Lord Chaitanya. Who's Lord Chaitanya? He's the absolute truth. Okay? Any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, this reminds me of the phrase that you mentioned, Moksha Lagutakrit.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Wherein it's totally insignificant in front of Krishna
Correct.
Prem.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, 2.6. Brahma Atma Bhagavan Anuvadatin Ang Prabha Ansha Swarup Tinirvidhe Chinna. So again, further elaboration on the same thing we've been talking about. Impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead are 3 subjects, and the glowing effulgence, the partial manifestation, and the original form are the 3 respective predicates. Okay? So, we've been talking about this all this time. So, I'm going to move to the next one. (2.7) अनुवाद आगे पाछे विधेय स्थापन सही अर्थ कहित शुन शास्त्र विवरण. A predicate always follows a subject. Now I shall explain the meaning of this verse according to the revealed scriptures. I'll go to text that. I know some people are thinking what's predicate, what's subject. It'll become very clear in the next few verses. Oh, sorry. (2.8) स्वयं भगवान कृष्ण विष्णु पर तत्व पूर्ण ज्ञान पूर्णानंद परम महत्व. Krishna, the original form of personality of Godhead, is the summum bonum of all pervading Vishnu. He is all perfect knowledge and all perfect bliss. He is the supreme transcendence. So, number of points being made here. Krishna is the original form of personality of Godhead. All Vishnu forms, all Vishnu tattvas are supreme personalities of Godhead. But Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead. As Brahma Samhita, I think it's text 46, I think, it says, Deepachiryavi dashantaram apapetya dipayite vibrat hetu saman dharma. So basically saying that you take one candle and light 10 candles. They all have the same power. But the original candle is still the original candle. So Krishna is the original candle. Okay. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, chapter 3, text 28, it says, Ete chansh kalapunsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So after describing 24 incarnations of Krishna, Sutta Goswami is saying that, yeah, they are all expansions or expansions of expansions, but Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of God. And that's basically the point being made here. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, 2.9. So who's this? Who's this we're talking about? Nanda Sutta Boli Jare Bhagavate Gai Sahi Krishna Avatirna Chaitanya Gosai. So he whom Srimad Bhagavatam describes as the son of Nanda Maharaj has descended to earth as Lord Chaitanya. Okay, so let's read the purport. I'll explain this in much more detail. Who would like to?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I read it?
Yes, Prabhu. Yogesh Prabhu, go ahead.
According to the rules of rhetorical arrangement for efficient composition in literature, a subject should be mentioned before its predicate. The Vedic literature frequently mentions Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, and therefore these three terms are widely known as the subjects of transcendental understanding. But it is not widely known that what is approached as the impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental body. Nor is it widely known that the Supersoul or Paramatma is only a partial representation of Lord Chaitanya, who is identical with Bhagwan himself. Therefore, the descriptions of Brahman as the effulgence of Lord Chaitanya, the Paramatma as his partial representation, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna as identical with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be verified by evidence from authoritative Vedic literatures.
Right. So the point being made is that there's nothing like, I think so. This is my opinion. You know, that doesn't work. What works is, here is the scripture in which this point is being made. So here is saying, yeah, everybody knows that, you know, Brahman effulgence is there, Paramatma is there, but not everybody knows that Brahman effulgence is the bodily rays of Krishna, that the Paramatma feature is a feature, expansion of Krishna. So therefore, we must, and that Lord Chaitanya is identical with Krishna, that must be proved by evidence from authoritative scriptures. So none of that speculation, none of that, oh, I think so, or I feel like that, but because it's my opinion, that doesn't count. Okay, so let's go to the next paragraph.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
The author wants to establish first that the essence of Vedas is the Vishnu Tattva, the absolute truth, Vishnu, the all-pervading Godhead. The Vishnu Tattva has different categories, of which The highest is Lord Krishna, the ultimate Vishnu Tattva, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita and throughout the Vedic literature. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is described as Nandasuta, the son of King Nanda. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Nandasuta has again appeared in the Lord as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he bases this statement on his understanding that the Vedic literature concludes that concludes there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This the author will prove. If it is thus proved that Sri Krishna is the origin of all the tattvas, truths, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, and that there is no difference between Sri Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it will not be difficult to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the same origin of all tattvas, the same absolute truth, as is revealed to the students of different realizations, is called Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. So the point being made here is, again, whatever we are saying is not based on speculation or concoction of the mind or my opinion or your opinion. It's all based on evidence from authorized scriptures. And then making the point that the essence of the Vedas is the Vishnu Tattva itself. I mean, so what's the verse? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15. Sarvasachaham Harisannivishto. Matta Ispiti Jnana Apohanata Vedas Sarvam Ahame Vedyo. So the purpose of the Vedas is to know me. So that's the essence of the Vedas. That who's Krishna? That's the essence of the Vedas. And it's saying that Vishnu Tattva, but the highest Vishnu Tattva is Lord Krishna. The ultimate Vishnu Tattva is Lord Krishna. Okay? So, and then it says, Srimad Bhagavatam says that Bhagavan, that ultimate absolute truth, is the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. And then he says that same Nanda Sutta Krishna has appeared again as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And once again, based on the understanding of the Vedic literature, that there's no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. And again, don't take his words for it. He's going to prove it. In the rest of the chapter, he's going to prove that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate truth, and Lord Chaitanya is not different from Lord Krishna. So don't take his words for it. Let's wait for the proof he will supply in this chapter. Similarly, we know very famous bhajan from Narottam Das Thakur. He says, Brajendra Nandan Jai Shachisut Hoil Sai Balram Hoil Nitai. So he's saying the same thing in his bhajan based on the Vedic evidence that yes, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna, appeared as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Balram appeared as Lord Nitya. Okay. So then he says, if it is thus proved that Sri Krishna is the origin of all tattvas, like Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and that there's no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya, then it will not be difficult to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the same origin of all tattvas. So again, I don't know how many people understood when I said A equals B, B equals C. That means A equals C. I don't know how many people are mathematically oriented, but basically it means if one thing is equal to something else and another thing, then other two things are also same. Anyway, I'm not going to try and elaborate. If you understand it, fine. If you don't understand it, that's fine too. Anyway, so that's it. So the rest of the chapter is going to prove that Krishna is the ultimate truth and Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Lord Krishna. Any questions on that?
Yes, Prabhuji, one question.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
One question, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Something
wrong, Prabhuji, looks like.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji, clearly.
Yes, we can hear both of you.
That connection is unstable.
Okay, Prabhu. So, I mean, others can hear me.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji, now?
I can hear you. So somebody tell him that, hey, I can hear him. Somebody tell him, please.
We can all hear you guys.
Hear you, Prabhu.
No, say, we can hear you, Katwanga Prabhu.
Katwanga Prabhu, can you hear us?
Okay, Prabhuji, yes. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Prabhu.
Okay. My question is, Prabhuji, as it is understood that there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Nityanand, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. Now, I would like to ask, are there in the spiritual world, there are different abodes for Lord Krishna and different abodes for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji?
Yes, there is. Lord Chaitanya resides in a place called Shwetadvip, which is actually this part of Golok Vrindavan, but Shwetadvip, and Lord Krishna resides in Goloka.
Okay.
They're very nearby, but they're different.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so then we go to number 10. प्रकाश विशेषते हूँ धरित नाम ब्रह्म परमात्मा और स्वयं भगवान. Translation: the terms of various manifestations is known in three features called impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and the original personality of Godhead. So once again, it's a lot of repeat of the same thing. So go ahead, read the, before you read, let me see. It's very long. Okay, go ahead.
Shall I, Prabhuji?
Please go ahead, yeah. Go ahead.
Mataji, go ahead.
It's okay, Mother, please go. Okay. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained the word Bhagwan in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. The personality of Godhead, being full of all conceivable and inconceivable potencies, is the absolute supreme whole. The impersonal Brahman is a partial manifestation of the absolute truth realized in the absence of such complete potencies. The first syllable of the word Bhagwan is Bha, which means sustainer and protector. The next letter is Ga, means leader, pusher, and creator. Va means dwelling. All living beings dwell in the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord dwells within the heart of every living being. Combining all these concepts, the word Bhagwan carries the import of inconceivable potency in knowledge, energy, strength, opulence, power, and influence, devoid of all varieties of inferiority. Without such inconceivable potencies, one cannot fully sustain or protect. Our modern civilization is sustained by scientific arrangements devised by many great scientific brains. We can just imagine, therefore, the gigantic brain whose arrangements sustain the gravity of the unlimited number of planets and satellites, and who creates the unlimited space in which they float. If one considers the intelligence needed to orbit man-made satellites, one cannot be fooled into thinking that there is not a gigantic intelligence responsible for the arrangements of the various planetary systems. There is no reason to believe that all the gigantic planets float in space without the superior arrangement of a superior intelligence. The subject is clearly dealt with in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 13, where the personality of Godhead says, I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. Were the planets not held in the grip of the personality of Godhead, they would all scatter like dust in the air. Modern scientists can only impractically explain the inconceivable strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, thank you. So the main point being here that the Lord's potencies are inconceivable. And because they're inconceivable by the material mind, a lot of people refuse to believe he's God or that a God exists. But whether they believe or not, the point is he does have inconceivable potencies, and the proof of that he has been given is how all these trillions and trillions of planets stay in their orbit and they stay in balance. And the movement of those orbits, so those planets, is so well controlled. And it's not over a small distance or distances that we cannot even imagine. And so somebody must have organized them in the manner that they are existing today, and throughout billions and billions of universes, all being controlled by one person, and that's Lord Krishna. I remember going to a show where there was one of the magicians. He was going to balance 12 round dishes on a basically a stick that looked like a straw. So 12 sticks, and he got them all rotating on those sticks, the dishes. It's like frisbees, they were rotating on them. And he was running like crazy, trying to keep them rotating, otherwise they'll fall down. And that's with just 12 frisbees. Now imagine 12 trillion frisbees being maintained in the orbit without somebody running like crazy. That is inconceivable potency. And that is Lord's potency. So whether people believe or not, the Lord does exist. He has these inconceivable powers by which he's able to maintain these different universes. And I mean, you can read and reread the whole definition of Bhagwan, the word Bhaga, etc. I won't go into details of that, but that's a very interesting explanation of how the word Bhagwan comes. There's another meaning of Bhag. Bhag means Ashwarya or opulence. Van means the possessor of. So Bhagwan also means the one who possesses opulences. In case of Krishna, there are 6 opulences. This completely possesses. And those are the wealth, beauty, renunciation, fame, and strength. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, let's go to the next paragraph then. Actually, do you want to do that with 9:31? So maybe we'll finish it next week. I don't want to get people late. So we'll stop here. Are there any questions or comments before we stop? Close the class. Let me also stop sharing. And let me put gallery view. Okay.
Prabhu, in this paragraph, the last 3 sentences, they are so hitting. Sometimes he does this by taking away the devotee's material attachments by force and baffling all his material protective agents. For thus, the devotee must completely depend on the Lord's protection. In this way, the Lord proves himself the leader of his devotees.
Yes. So we'll discuss that next week. But yeah, very good point. Any other questions or comments?
Prabhuji, just little bit more understanding on this. I fail to understand this. Maybe we can discuss it in next class, but I'll just talk about it. That Lord Chaitanya is not different from Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya is, we say Vishnu Tattvas. It's mentioned again and again in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam as well. But Vishnu is himself coming from Krishna. So why are we saying Krishna is Vishnu Tattva and Lord Chaitanya is Vishnu Tattva? Well, Vishnu is himself coming from Krishna only. So
the word Tattva means the truth.
Yes.
And Vishnu means somebody who has the quality of controlling, maintaining, and enjoying, and is eternal and complete in every way. That's basically the definition of Vishnu. So all the expansions of Lord Krishna are known as Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu himself happens to have that name also, but that doesn't mean it's his truth applying to Krishna. It doesn't mean that. It means that Vishnu has the same Tattva as Krishna, but Krishna has more qualities than Vishnu. So in terms of potencies, etc., it's the same. but in terms of qualities, it's not the same. Krishna has 4 qualities that no other expansion does.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, then. Thank you very much. Vancha kalparubhuscha kapasandubhyevcha chitana bhavnebhyo bhaktivibhyo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj ki jai, Shri Charitamrita ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhu. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Usha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. Madhu Mata ji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Yogesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Oh, you were there. I did see you.
I know, मैं दिखी नहीं आज. Sorry.
वीडियो ऑन होता दिखते हो.
एक बार दिखे थे, एक बार.
अच्छा.
Very. जैसे जैसे मौका मिलता है कर लेती हूँ on.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
You too.
Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Usha.